for
crazy.
a stock home.
It's crazy what's
Yeah.
going on. I think
You
it
wanna
must be
retire
7.
there?
Yep. Okay. 7 o'clock, so I'd like to welcome you to the Lunenburg Zoning Board of Appeals. I'll tell you how the hearing will proceed. First, I have to give a public notification that this hearing is being recorded in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law. You will please be advised that this meeting will be broadcast live through local access cable on Facebook Live on the public access Facebook page, and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Public Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. With that, I'll introduce you to the board. To my left is Lisa Norman, the board's secretary. I'm Alfred Gravel. This is James Bezikoski, David Blatt, and Patrick Callahan. The way the hearing will proceed is Lisa will read the application and any other submitted communication, and the applicant will have the opportunity for comments on the application or submission of additional documents. You'll please come forward to the mic and give your name and address. Board members will have the opportunity to ask questions they might have on the application while you're at the mic. And there will be a public comment period. And again, if anyone does come from the public, they have to come to the mic, give the name and address all comments and questions to the board. With that, I would ask Lisa to please read.
This is a modification of a 40B comprehensive permit. The name and address of the applicant, Whalum Road, LLC, 69 Massachusetts Ave in Lunenburg. The undersigned hereby makes application as follows. To change the comprehensive permit garage that was approved for 24 by 24 to 36 by 40. The proposed action has not begun. The street address of the property is 1 through 9 Rogers Way, Lunenburg. Assessors map 114, block 95, actually parcel 114, parcel 95. The name and address of each holder of legal title to the land, which is the subject of this case, is Whalum Road, LLC, 15 Bayberry Hill Road in Townsend, Mass. 01469, and the deed is recorded in Worcester Northern District Registry of Deeds, Book 8339, page 4, and recorded June 5th, 2015. The following information is provided because it is considered important to this case. Zoning Board of Appeals approved the garage of 24 by 24 on July 11th, 2018. We are hoping to change it to a 36 by 40 garage, and that's signed December 18th, 2023 by Mitchell Lorden. Attached is a site plan, a certified list of abutters from the assessor's office. Let's see. That were all notified 2 weeks prior to tonight's hearing. Let me see, there's a copy of the deed, and there is a letter addressed to me, care of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Whalum Road LLC, the applicant requests a modification pursuant to 760 CMR 56.0511 of the comprehensive permit under General Law 40B, Section 20-23, which was approved and issued on February 25th, 2015, along with a regulatory agreement dated September 29th, 2016, authorizing the construction of 120 apartment units. The nature of the proposed modification is to change the alignment of the existing parking layout. The current layout has the cars parked in the middle of the parking lot and the vehicles passing in front of the building within 15 feet of the front door. After construction of the first 2 buildings, the applicant found this design to present extreme safety issues for pedestrians, in particular young children entering and exiting the buildings. The new parking plan, which was delivered to the Town Hall on June 13th, 2018, reflects the parking arrangement to be 1 row against the curb and another row against the opposite side of the parking lot. The applicant has presented this to the fire department, and they are in favor of the new parking plan. The applicant will get a letter from the fire department and will have it in hand for the next meeting. Additionally, the applicant would also like to amend the plan to be allowed to construct a 24 by 24 detached garage for the purpose of a maintenance building for the property. The location of the proposed garage is depicted on the plan attached here too. Please consider this as 2 separate requests. One for parking lot modification, one for maintenance garage. The applicant requests that the board determine that both proposed modifications constitute an insubstantial change pursuant to 760 CMR 56.0511B. We would be happy to meet with the board to discuss this matter during the 20-day period discussed in 760 CMR 56.0511A. If you have any questions, please feel free to call at the phone number signed by Gary Lorden, manager of Whalen Road LLC. There's also a copy of the deed, a rendering of the structure that is proposed, how it will be built. And I did get a email, which I failed to bring, granting the board a 72-hour extension on this hearing.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Okay. On that, I want to explain one thing to the board and whoever's listening, that this is different than what we usually do. This is not a special permit. This is, I point out that the difference is that this is a comprehensive permit on a 40B. So that there are different regulations and different rules that go with this. So, as Lisa had read, what we need to do tonight is find out whether the change is substantial or insubstantial, with reference to the factors set forth in 760 CMR 56.074. If the change is determined to be insubstantial, the comprehensive permit shall be deemed modified to incorporate the change. There'll be no need for anything further. Okay? If the change is determined to be substantial, the board will hold a public hearing within 30 days of its determination. So you've got what it is tonight. It's just a substantial or non-substantial. With that, I would invite the applicant to come up if he would like.
Hi, I'm Alexandria Dugan, representing Whalen Road. So we're hoping to expand the size of the garage that was already approved. We're hoping to do this because we undertake all our own maintenance. We do our own snow removal, we do, maintaining the property itself. We're hoping to put all of our snow vehicles inside this garage, and with the size of the complex, unfortunately, the 24 by 24 is not all that substantial. We have a loader on site, a Kubota, a small 1-ton dump truck, 4 snow removal snow blowers, a pallet of salt and sand for the tenants to put out, as well as we usually have a crew about 10 guys in the morning throughout the day putting out salt. So we'd like to store that all at the property and kind of locked under key, protected, rather than out in the parking lot. Recently, we've also had some vandalism and a lot of car break-ins, so at this point, we are looking to move as much of our equipment as possible under, cover and protection, because unfortunately, that has been an issue with the complex. So we're just looking to increase it from 24 by 24 to 36 by 40. Same area, there's no, it's not a substantial increase to the closest buildings are across the little roadway. And then there's a dumpster and a good amount of land between the building at 9 Rogers Way as well. And as far as abutters that surround it, other than our own buildings, it's the vacant water department parcel that's no longer being used, and then the roadway that we own out back of the buildings.
Okay.
That's about it.
Thank you.
Do we have to address the parking? Are we going to do this first and then we'll do?
We're making.
No, we're going to do this first.
Okay.
Get the information, see what they're doing, review what they're doing.
Gotcha.
And there's
Okay.
no amendment to the parking. That was for the meeting back that was approved. It's just for an amendment to the size of the garage.
Okay.
Yeah, so the parking is not before us tonight.
Correct. Nope, that's all.
That's all
was
set
already
and done.
Yeah, that's been functioning for a while
Okay,
now,
yeah.
and all the buildings are as is.
Okay, all right. So all you're really doing is, you got the 24 by 24, and you want to expand it for the rest of your equipment.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that, with storing that type of stuff, trucks and all of that, is that garage to have a drain?
It doesn't have anything in the plans right now, because none of them would, like, have anything that would be draining. If it's something that they wanted to, I don't know. I don't,
You
See
mentioned
if-
sand and that,
like bags of salt, calcium flakes.
that's going to be inside?
Yes, yeah, so right now we store it off-site at our office garage, but unfortunately, the guys have to then make a trip back there to fill up 5-gallon buckets and because we have 5 buildings, so we do keep a 5-gallon bucket in each building, and then they also distribute it themselves as they do their kind of like hourly check-in with the sidewalks.
So it's not sufficient that it needs a drainage?
No, this is just, like, the 5-pound, or I don't know, they're probably more than 50-pound bags of calcium flakes.
Okay.
We typically get a
Thank
few
you.
pallets for the year.
So is there something stored in the garage today?
There is no garage.
Oh, that's
We
right,
were
there's no
waiting
garage. Yeah,
to get the complex up and running, and to kind of make sure that it was necessary and just the funds alone. After building a complex that size, we were trying to recoup funds before we paid out $200,000 for a garage. So now that we have kind of a moment to breathe, we're looking to construct that garage, especially with winter equipment and, like I said, kind of the recent vandalism. It's more of an urgency to get things in rather than having it parked. Right now, we have a lot of the vehicles parked in the lot as you come in, like our Kubota, our dump truck, things like that, and we just rather have that, protected. And the guys would appreciate not having to bury it as they use it for the snowstorm.
Right. Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I just have the topic there. I mean, I'd like to bring it up because I do think it's very important, is I know we need to review.
I'd like to go through this first,
Okay,
if you don't mind.
all right,
and then
that's fine.
That's fine. Make a
So I guess
determination.
the question is, you do plan on putting vehicles that might be, have been through plowing, so they might still have snow, ice, and other things on the vehicle? Is there, so that's my...
So the guys would typically clear them off before then, just because we don't want the garage getting, obviously, just as you'd pull into your household garage with your car, you typically would make sure there's not a foot of snow on it. So they would clear it off, make sure there's no, salt, debris, anything like that, and then they'd park it for the night.
Okay, thank you. Question?
I just had one, I'm pretty familiar with the complex.
And I do have a large map if you want it.
I have.
Okay,
is that the-
perfect.
Yeah. I was just trying to
Get your
point
bearings.
myself the right way, but the 19 feet, that's the side yard?
Sorry, I'm gonna grab the big one.
That's all.
Okay, that's,
But it still doesn't need to be finished.
but, yeah.
So this is 9 Rogers Way here.
Yeah, so, okay, so the,
This is that old water department area.
Right.
This is the, so yes, the 19 is really just towards that little forest area, and then where the old water department is.
yes, which would be your side
Yes.
line. Okay, I just, for the numbers, would have been 20 if it was rear. so-
What's the rear setback? So the garage to the property line in the back?
19 feet.
No, that's the side.
Oh, so they didn't even put it because it's so
I think that's the
substantial.
huger one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd say probably.
That's right, we only need 20 feet.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
very
that's,
large
the only reason I mentioned it is if 19 was, I just didn't want it to come down to a
Right.
silly number like,
Yeah, the engineers, I
bring you
think they've
back,
run
yeah,
through all
okay.
the.
Yeah. That's all.
That's it? Okay.
Oh, I got it.
Any other questions? Okay. I'll just discuss the substantial to non-substantial. In this case, I personally don't feel that it's a substantial change. If they were adding 20 new rental units or something like that, then I would say, yeah, maybe. But I personally don't feel that I feel that this is non-substantial.
When I was initially looking at it, I was wondering whether or not it was a pole garage, but obviously it's not. It's a lot smaller. And it's not substantially bigger than the garage I have on my house, so,
Must be nice. Yeah, very good.
No, I lean this way. I don't think it's so substantial. I do like the idea that it allows them to have all the vehicles out of sight, out of mind. That I appreciate too.
Pat, anything?
I agree, not substantial in my mind, and, yeah, nothing better than starting out with clean
Okay.
equipment with no snow on it.
With that, I'll ask for a motion.
public,
Yeah, it is, would you like to speak? There's only one person in the audience.
He's with me.
What she said.
She was saying our main office garage is just getting way too full while we're keeping those.
Yeah, you'd have to come up if you want to.
If you want to.
I think we got it. Ditto.
anything else?
Anybody on Zoom?
I am on Zoom all by myself, so I think we're good on Zoom.
Okay, then I'll ask for,
I'll make a motion that we, make a motion
it's
or
non-substantial.
that it's not substantial increase to the, agreement in the past.
We have a second?
I guess I'll second.
Okay, with that, I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
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 And aye. Okay, so it's not substantial. So actually, it's, we don't have to do anything more.
Okay, great.
Now, I know that David would like to bring up another subject, so I'll let him do that.
So, I was down there and, well, first of all, I got alerted by this that I saw on Facebook.
Yeah.
And the fact is that, my understanding as being part of this board, when we granted you the apartments, was that you would provide you were going to be, one of the critical items was that you were going to be providing a playground for the residents there to be able to use. And I've noticed now that the playground is missing, that it's been taken down, and I'm wondering what are the plans to replace it with a new playground?
So there are no plans. So part of the agreement, absolutely, the comprehensive permit called for the town to take over that recreational parcel. I actually do.
So I guess I would need to review, I'll ask for a review of that, because my understanding was it was going to be offered to the town, however, that the town did not have to take it over, but you guys still had to maintain it, that it was going to be, if the town didn't take over, it was your responsibility.
So I do have the comprehensive permit with me, just because obviously I knew we just did that and that it could be an issue. So it says, prior to the issuance of the 30th certificate of occupancy, the parcel labeled the recreational area parcel on the plan consisting of .7 acres shall be conveyed to the town of Lunenburg by deed in a form acceptable to the town council with no restrictions on the use. Prior to said conveyance, the applicant shall construct a school bus shelter, and that goes on to talk about the school bus shelter. Prior to the conveyance of the recreational parcel to the town, the applicant shall clear the parcel of woody vegetation. The applicant shall install playground equipment on the parcel, the design of which shall be subject to approval of the ZBA. The cost of the purchasing said equipment, not including installation, shall not exceed $30,000. So we did complete the deed. We purchased it. I do have the receipt for $30,000. We did hold up all our ends of the deal. I do have the deed with me here as well. On June 14th, we had the meeting to deed it over to the town, at which point the Parks and Rec Department said, no, thank you. That would be way too much money to maintain. The insurance would be crazy. We just built a playground down the street. So at that point, our insurance said, you're not in the business of playgrounds. We're not insuring this. So I also have a copy of the email from our insurance saying, Liberty Mutual has reached out again, asking, why hasn't the playground been taken down? So we were finally able to get the special bit that took the playground down, because we paid a lot of money to install it, but we don't have the liability coverage nor do we have any idea of how to maintain that playground. As an attorney, I do not want to be held liable when a small child falls off that playground, and the right proper wood chipping wasn't installed because, no offense, that's not what he went to school for, and he does not know how to maintain it. So when the town decided not to take it over for the same reasons, I mean, we can't hold liability insurance on that, nor do we have any business in maintaining it. And that's a pretty big thing as far as, we don't want to put kids, you know, I have a 2-year-old and a 9-month or 7-month-old. I wouldn't want them playing on a playground that wasn't being maintained properly. There is one down the street that the town's taking care of in the baseball field, so that's why we took it down.
So has the parcel of land still been deeded to the town?
No, they refused to take
Oh, they
it.
refused it.
I have the
Even with
deed right
playground
here.
down?
Yep, they refused it. At the time, they refused it, and she's correct. One of the reasons that the park department said they didn't want it is because they didn't want to maintain it, and they didn't want the liability.
Understand, but now that the playground has been taken down.
Well, basically, it's, in my opinion, the town reneged on their side of the bargain, which we thought they would take. So I don't see whether it's their responsibility anymore.
Yeah, because the deed itself is just the parcel to the town of Lunenburg on June 14th, 2018. And they didn't want to take it, whether, you know, they could have then taken down the playground if they truly wanted to, but the
Well, I mean, the
town,
town didn't want the cost of, just like you guys didn't want.
Yeah,
nobody wanted-
exactly.
Nobody wanted the cost of taking down the playground.
Yeah.
But, I mean, one of the stipulations was putting the parcel of land. I feel it's unfortunate because you had residents in your community that utilized that playground. And one of the reasons why, personally, I was willing to grant a 3-bedroom in any of those units was because you guys were willing to put up a playground and have something for your tenants that wasn't going to be taxing to the town. And, you know, like I said, I think that, I apologize, I would not have voted, I didn't realize that that's the way it was going to be written, and if that was the way it was written.
Well, I don't think any of us knew that because...
also there aren't a
assumed
single
at that
3-bedroom unit.
time that the town was
No,
going to
I
take
kind of knew the town wasn't going to take it at that time. That's why, because the town, when we
No, we
talked
didn't
to...
know the town wasn't going to take it until well after, when we tried to say, hey, is it...
Yeah, on the day we deeded it
The
over.
Parks Department didn't mention when we had our meetings that they weren't really interested in a playground there. So that's why my goal was that the playground was there for the tenants, that it was part of something that you guys were offering because you were trying to make it a family-oriented community. And that, you know, having a playground and having that for your community, especially since you were doing a 40B, you were offering something to the people who were moving there, and it wasn't going to be a burden to the town. And that's, I just, maybe, like I say, I'm gonna have to stop because it's, the way it's written is obvious. I must have misinterpreted at the time because I would have never voted a yes on that. My feeling is that you could offer it to the town, but you guys would have to make, you know, still.
Yeah, unfortunately, we just didn't factor that into our budget of maintenance, and also, there aren't any 3-bedroom units in the complex, so I don't know
I'm
if,
sorry, the larger unit, there's the larger units, you have the
We have 2
2-bedroom
bedrooms,
units, right?
yeah.
And that constitutes to me having a child usually there.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely.
There are definitely kids in that area, and talking to parents and kids in that area, they were very surprised when the playground went down because many of them were utilizing that. And it
Yeah.
was one of the key factors for them to be wanting to be in that community for a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, unless the town wants to maintain it, we can't afford to do so or have the liability, yeah.
Anything else from the board?
Nope.
Okay. On that, if you want to go back and look at the records, we can...
No, she just read to me what it says. I mean, I can't argue with what it says, because that's obviously what we gave them as far as regulations, but like I said, I
Right.
didn't realize that was the stipulate, because I fully knew that the town was never gonna take it, that they weren't interested, because they felt they spent all the money on the other playground already.
Okay. All right,
All right.
very good.
Well, thank you very much. So now, as far as the building permit goes, do we just resubmit that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
And I don't know what the criteria is. They may or may not require a drain,
Okay, yeah,
but that's up to them.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, I appreciate your time.
Okay,
Have a
thank
good
you.
one.
Good night.
Thank you for
Don't
coming.
forget
Have
your
a good
plan.
night.
Oh, thank you.
There we
If there's
go.
nothing else in front of the board,
Take care.
What's that?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 With that, this hearing's over.
Recording stopped.